There. It's me again. I'm back with something that I just thought I'd add on as a side to some of the main videos I've been doing to discuss mental health diagnoses. And that is, I want to talk a little bit about psychiatric hospitals, psychiatric facilities. If you read my bio, you'll find that I worked for quite some time at a psychiatric facility in this area. And one of the things that really drives me crazy, to be honest, as someone who worked in that area for quite some time, is the representation that we see of psychiatric hospitals in the media, in the news, in movies, kind of the expectations that people have. They kind of still are in the dark ages in terms of, well, do you lock them up all day and like chain them to walls? And, there's still that vision that these type of hospitals are very barbaric. And so being as that's one of my pet peeves, I thought I would just spend a few minutes actually talking about, what is it like in a psychiatric facility? What do people do all day? And great people work there, but why and what are they trying to help with? So basically, when you walk into a psychiatric facility, the only thing that you may notice is a little different from regular hospital units is that the doors on the unit may be locked depending on who's on the unit and whether they're there voluntarily or involuntarily. If a person's there voluntarily, they can leave whenever. So they can come and they can receive treatment and then they can go again. And if they don't want to come back, that's fine. But basically they look very, very similar to probably most of the medical units that you've been on for family members or people who've actually been in the hospital for being unwell. The facility I worked in was a little bit older, so the rooms and things are a little bit older set up, but still very, very hospital-like with a nurse's station and individual rooms. One of the things that might be a little different is there's a space to have dinner, to eat meals together, to do activities, that sort of thing. And then they tend to have a place where the patients can go outside and have some fun and get some sunshine. Most facilities that are really focused on recovery. And so there'll be a unit that people will come into when they're very unwell. That unit has a heavier amount of staff, more people accessible so that we can provide the best support to the individual as possible. The focus is let's get them onto their medications and get them settled as quickly as possible so that no one is harmed and they don't do any harm to themselves. The only time that individuals are set aside from the population, the regular population on the unit, is if they are a risk to themselves or others. So if they're trying to injure someone else or they're trying to injure themselves, and for their own safety, they need to be possibly even put into their own room to just be there to calm down. So it's not that we lock them up and throw away the key. It's just they're given some space to calm down and to kind of let things settle. And then we re-engage and we talk to them about what's happening and help manage it. The hospital here is staffed with psychiatrists who also work out in the community. And each psychiatrist will have a certain number of beds on a unit, and they look after those particular patients and follow them, a lot of them, into the community. And the psychiatrist will come by quite often to check in on how their patients are doing and adjust medications as needed. On the units, there's also a nursing staff, so they look after administering medication and making sure that everybody is healthy and organizing appointments and, assessing their patients very much like they would on any other hospital unit. They have a little bit more individual interaction with the patients because they spend some time chatting with them, offering some psychosocial support, teaching them some basic techniques to help them calm. There's also going to be aides on the unit that help out with activities, or if someone needs to have someone with them for a good chunk of the day for whatever reason, then the aides will help out with that. They take people to appointments. A typical scene on one of the units that I used to work on was, there'd be a couple of patients and one of the aides playing canasta. And they knew how to play it, and the patients loved card games. And so in the evenings when things had quieted down and the activities were done, they'd sit around and play cards and Connect Four and game boards. And, some of them enjoyed coloring, and some had their own electronic devices, and they liked to do that. But they just hang out with the aides and enjoy themselves. There was also a recreational staff associated with the unit. So they were in charge of running different types of programming for the patients. So they'd, have a food handling course, and they'd start teaching them how to make some very basic foods. They'd do, barbecues and things like that. They do exercise activities on the gym or on the unit, or perhaps go to the gym or swimming. Lots to keep the person or the people busy and engaged. Then there'd also be an occupational therapist and a psychologist. And those individuals are focused on providing the mental health support for people. So you could individually see a psychologist, you could visit with the occupational therapist, and you could work on whatever you needed to work on there. We would run groups and keep those people busy in that regard. So the whole focus was, how can we help you get ready to go back to the community and live a healthy life? And that was our goal. And we never, focused on keeping anybody in hospital. We never wrote anybody off. We just kept working and focused on getting people out until we were able to find them a place to move to. So that's kind of a quick look into what it's like in a psychiatric facility. And my guess is most westernized countries, and probably some of the other countries as well, they look pretty much like that. So really, when you're seeing like the metal doors with the bars and all of these things on TV shows, I mean, I worked even in the justice system aspect of mental health, and it looks nothing like that. We don't have any bars, and we don't have any doors that need keys to open them, like the doors creak open and there's little slots to put food through into bedrooms, and none of that stuff. So I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking about that because, like I said, that's really something that is a bit of a pet peeve of mine, because that's not our goal, and that's not what we ever tried to do, and that wasn't what it was like. So hopefully you found that as interesting as some of the other stuff. But like I said, kind of a pet peeve of mine.